Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Adam and I thought this slide, this presentation would be very important for all of you who are in the IT side of your companies, and that looking at the cloud through the eyes of your CTO would be important to show what your CTO would be thinking and is thinking in regards to cloud computing versus what we call premise-based computing, which many of you would be familiar with. And of course, Microsoft is answering the call on cloud computing with their offerings, which are referred to as Azure. So you might hear of Windows Azure, SQL Azure, all of these options that Azure has. And Adam, if you wouldn't mind forwarding to the next, that'd be great. So here you've got the options from Microsoft, and what it is that are the opportunities for your CTOs to look at options in the cloud that Microsoft would offer. This would again be options as opposed to premise-based install solutions and running these on your own servers, as we do here at Pragmatic Works. At Pragmatic Works over the last 7 years, we've had the options to build out our own IT infrastructure for applications that we would need to run our business. And after looking at different options, we opted to run the majority of our business, pretty much 13 out of the 15 applications that run our business are all in the cloud. And the reasons for that, I'll go through in the next few slides for you. Adam. So many of the same questions that we had here internally at Pragmatic Works are the questions that your CTOs are answering as well. And of course, Pragmatic Works is a smaller business, and many of you in the audience here today range from small businesses to enterprise-level businesses. So the adoption of cloud will be similar to what I would expect to see in the polls that we saw today. The adoption of cloud into the enterprise is going to be much slower than it is for businesses like Pragmatic Works, but the reasons for adopting the cloud remain the same. And one of the reasons, I'm trying to sum it up today, there's many reasons to that your CTO would look at cloud computing, but at the end of the day, it's all about trying to provide the same IT services to the business at the lowest cost per compute. Now, if you can go to the next one. So what does the lowest cost per compute really mean? How do you break that down as a CTO? How I looked at it here at Pragmatic Works, how Adam and I look at it together. And you look at a number of factors, but the top 6 that I could come up for this webinar today are things like real estate cost, administration of the servers and the applications internally, infrastructure, buying the hardware, the networking support, and so on. Power, just maintaining the utility and electrical bill for that IT infrastructure. Licensing and maintenance, how much does it cost to license the software that you have on those machines, and then what's it cost to make sure you're up to date and that you're managing all the upgrades of that software. And lastly, and a very important factor that many of you may not be aware of, is that your CTOs, your business, are looking at a tax advantage that you get by having a cloud computing solution as opposed to an internal premise-based solution. And that is a capital expense versus an operational expense. And what I'll do over the next few slides is delve into each of these areas a little bit, just so you hopefully understand what it is, what are the pressures that your business is having to move from a premise-based solution to a cloud-based solution. So here, for example, we'll dive into the real estate cost. Many of us go to work every day. We do our jobs. We maintain our databases, our applications. We're doing development, and don't really consider the cost of having the real estate around us that we go to work and report to. What a CTO will look at when they look at real estate costs in the ability to save money by moving an application or a database to the cloud would be how many servers are housed for that application, where are they housed, and what's it cost to maintain that space. So as you're in your data center today, you may just want to consider, depending on the city that you're in, I was going to delve into actual averages here, but everybody's from all over the world when they join our webinars. But think about the square footage of your data center. Think about the city that it's in. Things like real estate taxes, property taxes, and those things that are associated with the cost of that real estate center. And then with that real estate. And then also consider the maintenance and even the cleaning of that space. So, you know, upkeep of things like the plumbing, like the electricity, like the ceilings and the painting and things of that nature. All of that cost go into the cost of maintaining that real estate. And it is something that's considered by your CTO when moving something to the cloud.
And you know, Tim, it's interesting because a lot of folks think, well, is real estate really, I mean, are they really thinking about that? I mean, we have conversations, I know you and I have had conversations with C-level executives with our customers where they're talking about, you know, it's not even just the space that the servers take up, it's are we going to have to move locations to get a bigger server room or to get more, you know, space for staff that's actually generating revenue for the company and those types of things. Whereas if you went back and said that you could take 25% of that server room and reclaim it for office space or additional space to generate revenue and move all of those servers and the additional storage and all those things, some things we'll talk about later, up into the cloud and let that be managed for you, not the whole enterprise, but the part that's a good fit. You know, it really is a very cool thought process to be able to think about how you can begin to reclaim the investment you've already made and begin to double down there.
No, that's a good point, Adam. One of the things I didn't put on the slide here is you're right, future build-outs. So not only the existing space, but as you grow, which most companies are growing in the data center today, what's it going to cost to have that future build-out? Yeah, and we ran into that at Pragmatic Works, so that's a very good point. IT administration costs, and this one stings a little bit, right, because it's personal. It comes down to we're all employees of companies. We all, of course, have our cost associated with being an employee, but it is the number one expense that an IT budget has. Most companies' bottom line have in it is the employee and the payroll expense. So it is something that needs to be considered. It is probably the first thing that's considered. And it's not that the jobs go away when you go to the cloud, but they certainly change, and Adam will talk a little bit about that later on in the webinar today, but also throughout the week with Azure. You might want to look at Jason Straight's webinar, Brian Knight's webinar. They're going to talk a lot about, as a developer and a DBA, how your world changes if your applications go to the cloud, and what are the skill sets you're going to need to adapt to you know, to move your career with it. But again, these are the big expenses that a CTO will consider with the cloud. And of course, you've got to think of things like healthcare and benefits. And with the new healthcare laws that are out, the cost to maintain a single employee on healthcare has become very, very expensive. So Adam will go to the next one. Thank you. Infrastructure cost. Of course, this is a no-brainer, right? As you move an application to the cloud along with the database, you'll find that, of course, you're no longer having the hardware refreshes that you have. And each organization is different in how they go ahead and maintain and purchase hardware, what the schedule is to do that. But, of course, it's very expensive to go out and purchase those servers on an annual basis or biannual basis, depreciate those servers, all the peripherals that go along with maintaining that infrastructure, and the networking costs to do that as well.